brought that up. So for me, to you, I just definitely want to say to you all, thank you for being mothers to your children. Sometimes some of y'all, even the short time that we've been here, there are some of you who have been mothers to my children in a sense, taking care of my kids in different places. And I know there are some of you whose mothers aren't here. A lot of us, we have moms back home. Moms that have gone on. I think about a couple weeks ago, I had to go home on leave because my grandmother passed away. It was interesting because probably personally speaking, I've done quite a few funerals and memorial services and ceremonies and those things. But that was the first one. My grandfather as well. But where personally, I think about where I had the joy of sharing with my family and those who were attending the funeral service what we talked about last week, 1 Peter chapter 1, that living hope, that imperishable, unfading, ever-living hope. So today, my grandmother celebrates Mother's Day in heaven. So those are joys. That is what that hope that we talk about, that we read about in chapter 1 of 1 Peter, that sometimes I think in our minds we just allow ourselves to just talk about it, but not allow ourselves to dive in, to get baptized by it, and really consider what that means to have that imperishable, never-ending hope that is provided through God's Son, Jesus Christ. So we chapter song I shared about that last week, about that imperishable, undefiled, unfading hope in Christ. And we're moving forward in the text, and we find ourselves in 1 Peter chapter 1. We're going to be reading from verses 13 through 25. So if you have your Bible, please turn there, or we'll have it displayed above as well. I'm reading from the ESV version, New Standard Version. I put my glasses on, the reason I ran out to the car. All right. It says, therefore, preparing your minds for action and being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the grace that will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. As obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance. But as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct. Since it is written, you shall be holy, for I am holy. And if you call on him as Father, who judges impartially according to each one's deeds, conduct yourselves with fear throughout the time of your exile, knowing that you were ransomed from the futile ways inherited from your forefathers, not with perishable things such as silver or gold, but with the precious blood of Christ, like that of a lamb without blemish or spot. He was foreknown before the foundation of the world, but was made manifest in the last times for the sake of you, who through him are believers in God, who raised him from the dead and gave him glory, so that your faith and hope are in God. Verse 22, having purified your souls by your obedience to the truth for sincere brotherly love, love one another earnestly from a pure heart, since you have been born again, not of perishable seed, but of imperishable, through the living and abiding word of God. For all flesh is like grass, and all its glory like the flower of grass. The grass withers, the flower falls. Father in heaven, indeed, we are thankful. We're humbled. I'm amazed, God, at what you've done for us through your Son, Jesus Christ. Not amazed that he could do it. Amazed that he would do it for me. God, thank you for that. Thank you for your word. This morning, help us to open our hearts, open our minds. Let our ears be ready to hear. God, may this word take root, take seed in our hearts. And may we become better images, better reflections of of your Son, Jesus Christ, to the world around us. We ask all this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. So again, what's that first word that pops up there in verse 13? Therefore, right? Y'all probably heard this before. Everybody's in seminary, read a good book on hermeneutics or homiletics. You say, what's the therefore? Therefore? The therefore is there because of what Chaplain Snodgrass had the opportunity to speak about last week. That imperishable, unfading, that's another word, don't mess it up. Imperishable, undefiled, and unfading hope. Living hope in Jesus Christ. So it says, therefore, because of all that, prepare your minds for action. Preparing your minds for action and being sober-minded. I think about, what's the Boy Scout motto? Be prepared, right? Be prepared for whatever comes your way. In this context here, Peter's saying, be prepared. Be preparing yourself, right? Be sober-minded. I mean, don't allow your mind, your heart, to not be fully focused, to not be drawn away by something else, to not be fully focused on what's going to happen because of this awesome, incredible, living hope that is offered and given to us through Jesus Christ. So, think about again, and I think we talked this last week too, preparing your minds. You think about the dress of the day, right? They wore the man dresses, right? And they would have this belt, right? Again, you can imagine that might be a little difficult to run in or be prepared to fight. You know, even when you read into texts like Ephesians, where it talks about the armor of God, you know, that belt, you can pull up that cloth that might be in your way, tuck it in that belt, right? So now you can move a little freely. You can run if you have to, right? Being prepared, meaning, hey, not hey, something's going to happen. No, get ready now because something's getting ready to come your way, right? Being prepared. So we're talking about grace-based hope, preparing your minds for action, being sober-minded, fully aware. I think the NIV says self-control. I read one author in a study, so he didn't like using the word self-control. He'd rather like to focus on God control. Okay, I like that. That'll sit with me. God control, right? So you're not distracted. There's not things out there. Not the thing we think about the first thing. So I'm not drunk. Okay, that too, right? But no, that you're not distracted, right? You are focused because you have this living hope. Some great things are going to happen. You and I, as believers, because we have this living hope, here at Camp Humphreys, as a part of this service, we should be preparing our minds for great things to come. To be stewards, to be reflections of the image of Christ for people to see. When we look around us in the service here, it's a good crowd. But again, you think about it in comparison to the size of the population here at Humphreys, it's very little. What are we going to do to impact this very transient community here? Y'all, this is what I'm talking about here. This is for us, right here, out of this context, and then us particularly in our setting here. With this transient community coming in, coming out, 1 year, most people 2 years for the most part, right? There's some a little longer than that, but for the most part, if you're 1 year or 2 years, people are coming here and leaving, just like that, right? By the time you still feel you haven't gotten set and you're ready to go. We have an opportunity to impact people's lives and push them out. We have an opportunity to allow our lives to be impacted and then for us to be pushed out in a missional mindset, in a missional community. Preparing your minds for action. Being sober-minded. Recognizing you don't have to say, Lord, reveal to me, bring to me, show, let me see those ones that you get ready to bring me. I would challenge you to say instead, Lord, open my eyes for what is already right there. Preparing your mind for the action that is in your midst, immediately in your midst. The people that you rub elbows with, that you work with, that you enjoy fun times checking out Korea with, your neighbors. Preparing your minds for that, being ready for that. So be prepared, right? So grace-based hope. That verse there where it says, therefore, preparing your minds for action, being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the grace that was brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. What is grace? Very simply, grace is what? Getting what we don't deserve. As opposed to mercy is not getting what we do deserve. Grace, so this says there's more to come. It's not fully known yet, right? I'm overwhelmed by grace already. I'm trying to imagine what that's going to be like, the grace that we brought to you, the revelation of Jesus Christ, when all that is known in its fullness. It makes it easy, helps me better understand what heaven might be like, and how we're probably going to be in a constant state of worship because we will fully know. We only have a small sample of what that incredible grace is right now. Imagine what it's going to be like when our eyes are peeled. It's wide open and we see it all. Okay? So grace-based hope. And that's why we're doing these things, based on this hope, this living hope. Now, look further in verse 14. As obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance. So I immediately think of Romans chapter 12. Glasses down real quick. I know the verse, but I'll start to read it, right? Romans chapter 12, verses 1 to 2. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Not being conformed to this world. That's what we're challenged with here. As obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance. Right? Former, because we're no longer ignorant to that. Right? It's been exposed. The gospel exposed that. Now we have a hold of this living hope. But as he who called you is holy, also be holy in your conduct. And then it refers to the book of Leviticus chapter 4. It says, be holy because I'm holy. This verse has meant a lot to me for a long time. I think in the beginning, in my younger days, I remember at Bible college, I had this verse on my card. And it was, I had it put up around my little cubicle in my dorm room. I had the Nike slogan on there, just do it, right? Be holy because I'm holy, just do it. And I think what I was doing is something that one of my seminary professors warned me about. He called it, he jokingly referred to it as plaquitis. Pulling a verse out of context, sticking it on a card or on a piece of paper, framing it, putting it on a wall, much like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You know, great verse. Take it out of its context, though, a lot of times it gets ruined, right? Be holy because I am holy. And I had that slogan, just do it. It's like, I'm just be holy. Y'all, let me tell you something. I can't be holy. Marty Schubert, I can't do it. I can do all these things in a performance type setting, like I'm preparing for an evaluation report or counseling or whatever, right? I'm checking the blocks. Hey, they can look at me, they'll see this, and this. It's all performance based. Be holy because I'm holy. Because he is holy, you can be holy. Right? Not, I'm just going to be holy because I can do it. Because of Christ, because of who he is, because of that power in me through Christ, I can be holy. Marty Schubert can't just do it. Is that good grammar? I don't know. Y'all figure that out. I think you know what I'm trying to say. Because he is holy. Because he is holy. I can be holy. you can be holy. While I was preparing for this, to share with you on this, I read a good little description. Let me get it out here real quick. So now that Christ has found us, see y'all, I'm telling you, it's real. It is real. All right, now that Christ has found us, we can live new lives marked by holiness. Peter tells us, but just as he who called you is holy, so be holy in all you do, for it is written, be holy, because I am holy. The Hebrew word here for holiness is kadosh, which means to be set apart, sacred, hallowed, pure. The Greek word here is hagios. It's another word for saints as well. You'll find that in the Greek, which means to be different. We must prepare and we must dare to be different because of Jesus Christ. Only God is holy. But if we really learn from Him and spend time with Him, we will begin to take on His character. If we are truly filled with the Holy Spirit, we will become holy like Jesus. This command is an ancient one and is at the heart of Judaism. Again, Leviticus chapter 4. Being chosen by God, being in a relationship with God involves a great call and a great responsibility. Our lives are no longer our own. Holiness and obedience go hand in hand. We must obey God if we are to be holy. We cannot engage in a postmodern self-selection of what we think it means to be righteous, holy, or godly. Only in and through God's Word can we see His will and plan for us. D.L. Moody says, holiness, I like this, holiness is best seen in our lives. He said, it's a great deal better to live a holy life than to talk about it. Lighthouses don't ring bells and fire cannons to call attention to the shining. What do? They just shine. Right. We must get ready and be prepared to become holy because the world around us will try to distract us from Jesus. Y'all realize that, right? That is the devil's goal, is to distract us. And sometimes he'll distract us by doing good things. If he can get you busy doing a lot of good things, but not focusing really getting deep, he'll do that too. He's wise. He's cunning like that, okay? So, again, holiness. Because God is holy, because Christ is holy, we can be holy. Okay? I hope that, for me, that is not something I understood for quite a while. Y'all are probably smarter than me. Maybe you got that. I hope you do, and I pray you do. Again, the holiness that we ought to pursue is not because I said I'm just going to do it. It's because I find myself, I place myself in an abiding relationship with God the Father. And through His Word, through fellowship, I become more and more like Him. Right? I become more and more set apart. Not weird. Okay? Set apart. Not offensive. Set apart. Listen, hey, the gospel will offend on its own. It doesn't need your help. Right? It will. I'm convinced that's why in the days of Christ, when he was walking physically here on earth, there were Sadducees and Pharisees who saw what he was doing. They saw it all, verbally, physically. So they saw and heard everything he was doing, and yet they couldn't get with that because their pride was getting in the way. So much so they were more concerned about their power and losing the power that they ignored Christ. Okay? So, be holy because I'm holy. Beware of the plaque idols. Don't put them on plaque. The important part here is to focus on the object of our worship, which is Christ. If you look at these verses here, between verses 14 and 21, let's look at those again. After verse 15, where it says, because he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct. Since it is written, you shall be holy, for I'm holy. And if you call on Him as Father, who judges impartially, okay, that's a really cool thought here, judges impartially. That whole performance-based thing, sometimes this one's talking about, I'm going to be holy because I say I'm going to be holy. And we'll find ourselves trying to be like somebody else. Again, and that comes about performance. Oh, I've got to be like Jake Snodgrass, this awesome chaplain that's in my same brigade, and I've got to do what I can to either match him or one up him, to impress Christ, to impress people around me, or whatever that is for you, right? Or Jake's trying to really keep up with me. Let's get that straight for that. That's not what Christ is looking at. He judges impartially. You don't have to try to be like everybody else and say, or think, man, because I'm not doing like they are, I'm not good enough. I'm not holy enough. I'm not this or that. Y'all, he judges impartially. That ought to be, in some sense, freeing for you. You don't have to be like everybody else. Just abide with Christ. And grow in your relationship with him. Do your best to keep your mirror, if you will, as unblemished and untarnished as possible so that you can best reflect the image of the Son of Christ to people. Okay? And as you spend more time with Christ, as you spend more time in his Word, those things will occur. Again, he judges impartially, according to each one's deeds. Little verse 17. Conduct yourselves with fear throughout the time of your exile. Conduct yourselves with fear. Not cowering, like God hates you and he's waiting for you to mess up and he's going to strike you with a lightning bolt. Reverent, respectful, feel like he is your Father. Okay? And then it says, as we are exiled here. Other texts will read, as we are strangers in this land, or as we are aliens in this land, right? Y'all, this is not our home. Right? This was not my grandmother's home. A couple of weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, she went to go home, be with the Lord. That's our home. Knowing that you were ransomed from the feudal ways inherited from your forefathers, not with perishable things, such as silver and gold, that you were ransomed, bought with a price. Okay? Means you're God's now, but you're free in him. You're not shackled by sin. You don't have to be. Before you were, like, there was no choice. Sin nature had a hold of you, and it was dragging you down, no matter what you did. Christ came in. The blood of Christ. You called out to him. He saved you. He unshackled you. You're free. Knowing that we were ransomed from the feudal ways inherited from your forefathers, not with perishable things such as silver or gold, but with the precious blood of Christ, like that of a lamb without blemish or spot. He was foreknown before the foundation of the world, but was made manifest in the last time for the sake of you, who through him are believers in God, who raised him from the dead and gave him glory, so that your faith and hope are in God. Just further drop on this one more, just a little bit more. And about how sometimes we try to, on our own, to live holy lives or be like somebody else. I guess it was about 1.5 years ago now. My son Noah and I were in my truck. I can't remember where we were going or where we were coming from. He calls my truck Snatchy O'Bach because he needs to transform. That's his name he gave me, Snatchy O'Bach. We're sitting in the truck, we're driving around, and Daddy says to me, Daddy, I'm not as fast as his buddy, his best friend at the time there. He has had a couple different best friends and different hosts, right? I'm not as fast as so-and-so. And I said, no, you're right. You're not as fast as he is. But that's okay. And also, that's a reality. You're always going to be around people who may be better at you than something than you are. The important thing here is that you don't focus on trying to be like so-and-so. And y'all add wherever that is in your life. For your children, if you're sharing this with your children, or for yourself. No, you don't have to be like him. I don't expect you to be like him. As a matter of fact, the reason why I don't want you to focus on you not being as fast is because if you start focusing on his potential, guess what you're going to miss? Guess what y'all are going to miss? Guess what we're going to miss if we start focusing on other people's potential and start trying to measure up to them? You know what we're going to miss? We're going to miss our potential. We're going to miss the potential that God has for us because of who we are, because of who He's gifted us to be, because of the talents and abilities He's given us. If you're trying to be holy and measure up to others and try to do it on your own, then just do it. And not recognizing that you can be holy because He's holy. Because He's holy, you can be holy. Right? That's what the word means. Remember that. Don't focus on others. You might miss what God's potential is for you if you do that. So, as we continue to look forward, verse 22. Having purified your soul by your obedience to the truth, for a sincere brotherly love, love one another earnestly from a pure heart. I like how the NIV says, love one another deeply. From a pure heart. What is that? What's that going to look like? Again, we don't want to measure what others are doing. I think we'll find out what that looks like if we put ourselves in that abiding relationship with Christ. If we take ourselves away from the performance measures, trying to compare ourselves to other people, and focus on Him, and get to know Him more, we'll become more and more like Him. Who was in the Old Testament? Was it Enoch? They talk in the Old Testament, one day he was walking with God and God just took him home. And it says that if you read that passage, Enoch walked very, very closely. I wonder how much changing had to be done to Enoch when he got to heaven. I'm sure it's a lot because he was still a simple human being just like we are. But wouldn't it be neat to think that we're abiding in our faith with Christ, as we're finding ourselves in His Word, trying to become more and more like Him, that when that time comes, God calls us home. There are things that He doesn't have to address. There's always going to be something to address, right? Because again, we're fallible human beings. Christ is perfect, we're not. But we're trying to become more and more like Him. Loving one another deeply. That sounds like a great thought, doesn't it? It's not always easy. I struggle with that sometimes with my family. Just doing things that are loving. Or, put it this way, not doing things that are unloving. Okay? Like this morning, my wife is doing that barefoot race. That's her Mother's Day gift. She's out doing that barefoot race. Y'all heard about that? It sounds like they're running in clay. It sounds like, and after all the rain yesterday, I can only imagine how much fun that is. So, one, it's a miracle that I'm here with my two kids. She wasn't there, right? I did it all by myself. Yay me. I got the kids in the car. I buckled up Abigail. Noah is old enough to get in there. He usually buckles himself up, right? I'm running a couple minutes behind. I go back inside and grab some stuff and come back out. He's still not buckled up. I'm like, where can I go now? Opens car door up. He's independent. He wants to do it himself, even though he's had 5 minutes to do it. So I'm very frustrated. He said, "No, we gotta go." Kind of yelled at him a little bit. My son's very sensitive. Abigail, nah, she doesn't care. Noah's very sensitive. Noah started to cry. I think, golly, that's like, I'm fixing to preach. So it's talking about loving one another deeply, and I can't even get out of the driveway without making my son cry. Right? It looks really easy. Well, I should say, yeah. It's simple, right? Simple is not always the same thing as easy, though, is it? It's simple what it's saying. Love one another deeply. The execution of that, it's not always easy. Sometimes we're going to be around people, and not just the ones who are unsaved. Sometimes we're around our brothers and sisters in Christ that just drive us crazy. Right? And we'll not be loving. We won't love deeply. That's a challenge to us. We struggle with that. Honestly, probably daily, I do something to jack that up. Probably daily. Whether it's having a critical spirit on somebody, or just seeing something and saying, and maybe in a mocking tone or sense, either physically, verbally saying it, or even in my head, which, again, from the heart the mouth speaks, right? Loving one another deeply. Right there is our application, right? Because that's what it's about. That living hope. Therefore, that living hope, let's do this, right? Let's be holy. Let's be prepared. Be ready for action. Let's be holy because He's holy. Let's love one another deeply. There's a great application to help you and I not compare ourselves to one another, not looking to somebody else, but to become holy because He's holy. There's a step we can take that will help us get closer to what that is that God desires for us, of loving one another deeply. And y'all, what does Scripture say? They will know we are Christians by our what? By our love, right? Let's look at the reverse of that. They will not know we are Christians because of our, right? Because I may know it, or that unloving, critical spirit that is just so easy to have and do. It comes natural to us because it's part of that sin nature, right? We don't have to try to do that. We do have to be purposeful to be loved, to have that deep love one another deeply. You have to be purposeful. I have to be purposeful about that each day. Because the moment I take my sign off that, somebody says something that I don't like or does something I don't like, and I take my, I take my hands off the wheel and say, okay, I need to love it through Christ. I need to love these people. Now, if I forget about that, I can very easily be critical. But I want to reflect the image of the Son of Christ, not because I'm trying to check a block, not because I'm trying to compare myself to somebody, but because I want to be holy because He's holy, and I want to reflect the image of Christ to the people around me, to the people here at Camp Humphreys, to the people of my unit, the 532nd MI Battalion, the 501st MI Brigade, as it expands, wherever you guys are at. Let's look at this as a challenge to love our neighbors deeply so that they can see Christ in that reflection that we give. And as we, again, have that abiding faith relationship with Him, I think that mirror eventually time gets less and less tarnished and provides more and more of an accurate reflection of who Christ is. Closing up here. Verse 23 again. Since you have been born again, not of perishable seed, but imperishable, through the living and abiding word, the living and abiding word of God. For all flesh is like grass, and all its glory like the flower of grass. The grass withers and the flower falls, but the word of the Lord remains forever. There's another reason why you don't want to try to do performance-based stuff, right? It just fades and falls away. Right? And it gets thrown in the stove with the rest of the trash. Right? And this word is the good news that was preached to you. In the last part of verse 25, but the word of the Lord remains forever. I challenged you last week. I challenged myself last week. As we're working through 1 Peter, try to read through it once or twice a week. Come on Sunday morning with your hearts prepared for action, sober-minded, seeking to be holy because He's holy, by expanding our faith relationship through His Word. The word of the Lord remains forever. That's what remains. And then the things that we do, because the word is poured into us, the living word is poured into us, because we have this living hope, because we are offering this reflection of Christ to a lost and dying world. The other thing that matters, the word of the Lord and the souls of men and women. If we're doing that, then the two things that matter the most, the word of God and the souls of men and women, that's all that will matter. Those are the things that are not going to fade away. Those are the things that will be there and go with us when we are called home that one day, however that happens. Let's pray together. Lord God in heaven, this morning, your word says that the word remains forever. And that this word is the good news that was preached to us, to men. God, I pray there's anybody here who doesn't know what that is, who doesn't know what that faith relationship's about. Lord, they have questions. If their heart is being turned, Lord, may they today take care of that. Lord, may they come and talk to myself or one of the chaplains, or reach out to somebody next to them and say, I've got a question about this. I want to know more about this abiding faith in Jesus Christ. Lord, give them the courage to do that. Lord, give us the courage to respond. To remember that there was a day in the past when we didn't know your Son, Jesus Christ, when we were lost in our sin. But because we acknowledged that your Son was crucified for the sin that we committed, and that 3 days later he powerfully, prophetically arose. And Lord, because we confessed with our mouths and believed in him as Jesus Christ, our Lord, we were saved. We were made holy and set apart to do great things in your name. Lord, help us to be courageous, to ask about that, and to respond to the questions asked about that wonderful gospel that you've given to us. Lord, thank you for your word. Thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. We ask all this in his perfect name. Amen.
Would you please stand as a closing worship?
Father, you are good, and in you all things hold together. You are holy, and God, you are our only hope. Lord, our hope and our is just completely and totally pegged on you alone. Lord, you've given us the grace. You've called us to be holy, but you've also given us the grace to become holy like yourself. And Lord, I pray, God, that you would continue to help us kill sin. God, that you'd help us continue to grow in our faith towards you. And Lord, just continue to do the work in all of our lives as a community of people who are encouraging one another to the hope that we have in Jesus Christ. In your name we pray. Amen. Hey, before you head out, a couple things. One, in your bulletins, don't forget, if you haven't ever taken one of those and filled it out and left it in the back, leave one in the back for us. We are publishing some information that will be coming out this week for Right Now Media. And so if you get an email from Right Now Media inviting you to that account, that is from us so that you can get plugged in and have access to all the resources that come out. Right Now Media is basically the equivalent of like a Netflix of Christian Bible study. It allows you to connect some Bible studies that are maybe going on. It's our way of really being able to reproduce rapidly what we feel like God has called us to do. So you can take it, use it. We're going to do some coaching on it and things like that. We'll have our own channel so you can see some things that we recommend. And there'll be a lot of resources and accessibility for you there. So do get plugged in and do use that really well. Another thing in your bulletin today, we have information on VBS. VBS registration starts this weekend. And so you can go to that link on there. We'll post that link on our Facebook page and also on our website. We have a website that got launched this past week, agapehumphreys.com. Go look at it. What we really hope to see and use that for is for people who are coming into Camp Humphreys. Maybe you're PCSing here. And if you remember when you found out you got orders to Humphreys, you were trying to Google everything about it. We want to be an access point for people to come in, say, hey, here's a group of people I can immediately plug into. I can ask them for help, ask them for information, and then get immediately linked into the community. We'd love to be able to link people up who are coming in and then really greet them at the hotel, provide them meals when they arrive, help take care of them, loan them our vehicles, whatever we need to do to be hospitable to newcomers. But we're going to use that as an access point. So check some of those things out. As you can tell, crowd continues to kind of grow, but I just walked back there and checked. We had 77 kids in the back today, okay? So when we got here, we were kind of looking at a children's ministry that was built around about 25 to 30 kids a Sunday max, okay? So what that means is we're going to have an increased need for volunteers and increased need for people who are plugging in and teaching. We are not babysitting, okay? That's not what we're doing back there. What we are doing is training our children in the ways of the gospel so that it's clear to them. And I will tell you, as somebody I make disciples and we teach people, one of the best ways to do that is to put you back there, let you go for it, and train and teach kids, let you struggle a little bit. If you can communicate the gospel to my son, then you are good to go, all right? So we just hope for the grace of God some days, right? So there's a lot of opportunity there. Please get with us. We're going to have a background check rodeo the first week of June. We're going to be trying to plug you in as fast as possible to help get you plugged in and training our children in the ways of the Lord. So please ask for information. We want to get you active and involved back there. We don't want to just have a few people back there rowing as hard as they can. And do thank everyone that is back there. And thank all our volunteers, our worship team who comes in, sacrifices and practices. Remarkable. Our volunteers in the back and our volunteers who plug in. We have a lot of opportunities to serve. So let's give them some encouragement as well. So again, if you have any questions of us, let us know. We'll be up here in the front to pray with you if there's any issues or needs that we have. If you're like, hey, I really want to make Jesus Christ the Lord of my life. I don't know what to do. Come talk to us. We want to pray with you. If you're like thinking about baptism or any of those type of things, we'd love to pray with you and lead you down in that direction. So again, you guys are dismissed, but thank you again for everything that you've done. We're going to play a VBS video as you kind of file out, and you guys can watch it and hang out. But again, welcome to Agape Humphreys, and do ask us anything